In today's video, we're going to discuss how much capital you actually need to buy your first investment property. Hey, so I'm Juan Pablo from 100% Finance, where we share with you how you can improve your credit, get business credit, and get the knowledge needed to acquire a cash flowing multi-unit investment property. So that way you can be financially free and independent in no time. So if you're new to the channel, just make sure you subscribe so you get notifications for our new video releases, and check the links in the description below because we have a ton of great resources that will help you become a real estate investor full time. And I just want to make sure that you stay till the end because I have a special bonus for you if you happen to do so. So let's jump into it. To answer the question plain and simple, how much money you need? Well, it depends, right? So I have a few questions. Are you buying the property all cash? If so, you need higher cash reserves, correct? If you're not using a mortgage. And if it is a mortgage, is it a conventional mortgage where you're paying 5% interest rate, amortized over 20 years with a 20% down payment? Or is it a low doc investment mortgage in which it requires a 25% down payment? So the type of mortgage matters because it will relate to your terms and how much down payment is required. Other things to consider when buying a property, see how much cash you need, is how many units are you buying, right? Obviously, just to keep it simple, typically the more units you buy, the more money it costs. And you also want to consider what market are you buying properties in. If you're buying properties downtown, it may be different from the north side, or the east side, the west side, the south side. So you have to bring that into the equation as well. So let me share with you a personal story of mine, right? My first property was a duplex in Jersey City, New Jersey. And it cost me $255,000 to acquire that property. Now this wasn't an investment mortgage, but it was an investment nonetheless because I lived in one unit and rent out the other. So I used FHA since it was considered a personal residence, even though it was 2 units and I received rental income from the other. With that mortgage, I only had to put a 3.5% down payment down, which is minuscule, right? 3.5% of $355,000. But if I was going to buy a second property in that same market as an investment property only, I would have had to put down 20% of $355,000, which would be about $70,000 plus, just towards the down payment, not including soft costs or closing costs. So that's a lot of capital to invest, right? So that's extremely expensive. But when I decided to choose a different market, Pittsburgh, PA, I ended up buying maybe a year or two later a 9-unit for $218,000. So depending on the market, I bought a duplex for $355,000 and a 9-unit for $218,000. And by the way, if you're just getting started in real estate investing, you may be capped in regards to the number of units you can acquire. Meaning, like myself, my first property was a duplex, right? But the maximum units I could acquire would be a 4-unit because I was using a residential mortgage, as I shared, FHA. So if you're going that route as well, even if it's an investment property, just to cut your teeth, you might have to buy a property from a 1-unit to a 4-unit, which is fine. As I shared, my first deal was a duplex, and my second deal was a single-family house, and my third deal was a 4-unit. And then after that, after those 3 deals, then I jumped into commercial units, multifamily, in which I was able to buy that 9-unit that I just shared with you. But to answer your question, I would say if you're buying a property in my market, because I can only speak from my experience, I would say having $32,000 in capital would be a good start towards buying a multi-unit investment property. Okay, that would be a good basis to use towards a property. All right, that leads me to the bonus. If you don't happen to have $30,000+ to invest, no worries. See how you can leverage that capital. You can leverage your personal credit. You can leverage business credit. You can leverage your personal relationships using private money and lenders, as well as equity partners and so forth. But now you have a goal. If you have a goal that, you know what, I want to save up to $30,000, because you might be able to get an investment property for far less. As I shared, it depends on the market, what mortgages you qualify for, because the mortgages always change their criteria. So that's why I say it depends, right? But if you have an aim to get $30,000 used for your first property, then you now have a goal set in your mind. You will obtain that goal as long as you're diligent towards obtaining it. But just keep your options open, by the way. As I shared, my first deal was a duplex for $355,000, and I was able to put 3.5% down payment down. So you might not need $30,000, okay? You might be able to get a deal far less. All right, so I can hear the skeptics now, right? Saying that you don't need $30,000. You actually need more than $30,000 to buy a decent property that cash flows. Or the reverse, you don't need $30,000. You can get a deal far less, because I bought a property cash for $10,000. It was a tax lien. And hey, don't get me wrong. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And guess what? You're right. You can get a deal with more capital. You can get a deal with less capital, right? It's just a hard way of answering that question, but I get that question asked often. And then oftentimes when I respond to "it depends," most people aren't satisfied with that answer, right? Because they want a specific number. They don't want me to say it depends on your credit, it depends on what mortgage you qualify for, it depends on what market, what unit size. People don't want to hear the answer. It depends, but based upon historical data retrieved from my personal experience and experience of our clients, having about $32,000 in investment capital will increase your chances of buying an investment property. All right, and again, it's from my experience and the experience of my clients. But thank you for spending time with me. Please comment below if you have any questions. And by the way, if you're looking for additional resources to help you along this journey to being a full-time real estate investor, check the links below in the description. As always, guys, it's to your success. Continue to earn passively, live passionately. Peace.